except that I made this. This came from my hands.
I'm sorry, this has to be addressed. How did this become this, become this, become this?
There are a few tips and tricks that I have for getting a perfect half circle if you're doing an arch mural. I just use twine, a pencil, and painter's tape. So you cut your twine to the length of the radius of the semicircle you want. So for this arch, it would be something like that, a few feet. You cut the twine, you want to leave a little bit of extra space so you have room to tape it to the pencil. I would recommend taping it and not tying it because it's more secure. And you also want to tape it to as close as possible to the tip so it's easy to keep the pencil perpendicular to the wall when you're drawing up a circle. Then I added tape to the other end and I just taped it to the center of where I wanted the mural to be. Then you keep the twine tight while you trace the outside of the arch and make sure that the pencil stays perpendicular so that you're not adding length and making it wobbly by tilting. So yesterday I went back to Pink Lowe's, and that can only mean one thing. I am painting another mural. I haven't posted on here in a while, and in that time I bought a house, so crazy, right? And I have a bunch of blank walls. So naturally, I simply had to paint a mural, and I am going to be posting the whole process on here. I just started it last night, and I'm hoping to finish it this weekend. Last time I painted a mural, I did it entirely freehand and with basically no planning, which was fine. It turned out okay, and It was a challenge, but I got smart this time. This mural is in my dining room and I wanted it to be perfect, so I drew it out on my iPad first. Then I got a projector and I projected the image onto my wall, and all I really had to do from there was trace the design I had already drawn, which made it a quicker and less stressful process. It still took me about 2 weeks to complete this whole thing, but I'm still shocked at how much it looks exactly like my original drawing, and I am so happy with the way it turned out. You have to let me know what you think in the comments. So I have a nebula capsule projector. It's not specific to painting murals, but it worked really great for mine. I just airplayed my image that I drew on my iPad onto the wall to paint the mural. And so the projector can really project anything that you have on your iPad or laptop or phone. It can stream Netflix and all that. And I found it really easy and convenient to use for this project, so I would highly recommend it. It's linked in my bio. It's time for another mural, this time in my guest bedroom. I went to Lowe's to pick out all the colors, couldn't actually get paint there, and had to go to Home Depot. Did get the paint at Home Depot, taped off the wall, painted the entire wall, and didn't actually get started. These are the colors I'm using, so stay tuned to see what it looks like. What do you do for a living is definitely one of my most dreaded questions. I'm an artist, but I also run a business where I sell my art on products, and let me tell you, the reactions I've gotten vary widely. There's the genuine, oh cool, good for you, and then the condescending, oh well, I hope that worked out for you. Then there's, are you even good? Is it a business or is it an OnlyFans? And are you sure that's thinking for the long term? When I lead with artist, people assume that means starving artist, and when I lead with business owner, they assume I have an MLM. That's just uncomfortable in day-to-day life, but actually frustrating when you're trying to get a mortgage or start a retirement plan for your employees. Do I get over it? Yes. But do I hate being asked that? Also yes. And it's actually a problem when people assume art isn't a viable career path or dismiss small businesses as just a hobby because people feel pressured into jobs they don't want by parents or partners or friends, or they feel judged for following their passion. It's a risk to start a business or be self-employed, but it's also a risk to sacrifice something that brings you joy to put your mental health on the line for a corporate job. Not everyone gets that. Here's my tips for getting mural paint. This is going to be my 5th mural, and I planned it out on my iPad first, then I pulled color swatches from the design I created to bring with me to Home Depot. There, they can match the colors that you want to the printout you bring in, so you don't have to find them on the paint chip wall, which is so much easier. Lowe's doesn't do this, so that's why I always go to Home Depot. I also always get an eggshell finish because I don't want it to be too shiny or too matte. I'm super happy with how closely these colors match the colors that I used on my iPad, and I'm super excited to work on the rest of my mural for my storefront, so stay tuned to see how it turns out. I'm working on my 5th mural. It's my biggest one yet at 11 feet tall. And since it's going to be the focal point of my new storefront, it had to be absolutely perfect, so I planned it out first on my iPad and then projected the digital design onto the wall. My storefront is called Mill Meadow, so the design is a windmill that's kind of hiding in this big flower meadow. Seeing its progress, I feel like this already might be my best work ever. I'm getting really excited about it, but I only have 1 week to finish it, and that will be the fastest I've ever done a mural, so fingers crossed. I posted on Instagram recently that I was feeling too sick to work on my mural, and someone responded that I should just finish it, it's just painting, which got me thinking I don't know if people understand how physically taxing it is to paint a mural this big. So it's hard enough to be this precise in a comfortable position, but my arm is usually fully extended above my head. I hold my breath to keep my hands steady and move my whole body for one brush stroke, and then when you add in going up and down the ladder, trying to keep my balance, trying not to spill my paint, and moving the ladder every which way, the whole process is physically exhausting. This is actually kind of a funny story. Let me tell you how my life took a 180-degree turn. 2 years ago, I was at a major crossroads. I had moved across the country to Durham, North Carolina to go to Duke for law school. I was in my second year deciding what kind of law I wanted to pursue. It was between the burnout and anxiety of working in big law or struggling to pay back my loans as a government lawyer. At the same time, I was also running my Etsy shop, which was supposed to be a side hustle, but brought in over $350,000 in revenue that year. Eventually, I realized I didn't have to choose between big law and a government job. I didn't have to become a lawyer at all. The business really had some potential and I loved running it, so I decided I was going to go all in on my business and take it full-time. Since I made that decision 2 years ago, I hired 6 full-time employees, was on the Today Show, graduated from law school in May, and made a few $1 million in revenue along the way. Now I'm opening a storefront in Durham where I painted this mural, so instead of becoming a lawyer, I get to do this every day, and I couldn't be happier. So on pretty much a daily basis now, someone will come into my new storefront and tell me that they like the wallpaper, which is at the same time very nice and very funny to me because it's not wallpaper, I painted it.